Welcome to Unit 3 of Section 1. The unit is dedicated to branding and local identity. The topic of branding is very broad and becomes even more complex if applied to a tourism destination. To get into this topic, I think it is useful to make two premises represented by this slide and the next one. The first premise is that those who manage and promote a destination must be aware of the fact that their offer is inserted in a broader and more promiscuous territorial context from the point of view of its use and its vocations. The slide reminds us that not all components of the territory are consistent with the tourist offer, and consequently functionalities and dysfunctionalities may occur in the same territory. So the task of tourism operators is to manage the tourism destination in a coherent way by providing an integrated and functional system of services, attractions, actors and activities that are functional to the experience that tourists do expect. In its entirety, this is the tourism system. The figure on the right side of the slide well represents this stratified perspective in micro, meso and macro context. The single product and the product clusters, the subsystems, are at the micro level. Their sum makes up the local tourism system, the meso level, which in turn can be inserted into the territory, the macro level. The second premise I would like to do is that although each territory is in fact unique, from a marketing point of view, this is not a sufficient condition to automatically transform the territory into an attractive and recognizable destination. We need to work on it. But how? It is the right moment to introduce our guiding question for this unit. And the question is how to turn a territory into a recognizable and attractive tourism destination, how to transform it into a brand. To answer this question, we are going to explore what is brand, the main principles of branding, the logical steps of a tourism destination branding strategy, and some examples of unique destination propositions and unique selling propositions. As usual, to start, we need to clarify the meaning of the keywords we are going to come across in this unit. The first is undoubtedly the word brand. Brand is a synthesis construct which summarizes and anticipates the value provided by the product to customers. This is true also for the destination with respect to its visitors. The brand name is the visual part of the brand and translates, for example, into images, logo, trademark, or sounds, a jingle or gong in an advertising spot, the values of the brand. All this helps make the brand name immediately recognizable on the market. In tourism, brand is the personification of the destination and serves to communicate its image and positioning on the market. We will therefore work on the distinctive features of the destination, transforming them into competitive assets and making them recognizable in the eyes of visitors. There is no single way to cover these phases. Each destination will focus on its strongest traits or considered such by its visitors. The cloud offers some options. To answer to the question how to turn a territory into a recognizable and attractive tourism destination, we can identify 5 logical steps connected to each other. Let's see them. The first step is dedicated to the identity of the place. In this phase, it is necessary to identify the valuable and distinctive features of the place. The second step is dedicated to positioning. That means creating and maintaining a clear and distinctive position in the customer's mind. The third step is that of the brand image. That is the representation of these distinctive features from a communication point of view. The fourth step offers a moment of synthesis of this narrative, declaring the value proposition of the destination through its main attribute. While the fifth and last step proposes the various experiences that, in line with the previous step, the visitor can have in our destination. It's the case of the USPs, or differently said, product clusters. The next slides help us to fully understand each of these steps. So let's start with place identity. What is the identity of a place? It is something that starts first and goes beyond the tourist proposal. According to scholars, it is a combination between authenticity, referring to the origins of the place, and sense of belonging, referring to the local community. From a marketing perspective, the identity of the place is an asset on which to work to characterize and make the destination recognizable. It is what makes it not only unique but also attractive. And it does this through four main elements: tangible and intangible benefits, personality, that is, how the territory conforms, its culture, and the physical and geographical features. In some cases, we have strong attractors called landmarks. The elements composing place identity can be both rational and emotional. Let's see through an example how place identity works. Let's consider Pisa, an Italian international destination in Tuscany region. What are the identity traits of this city? Going by categories, we can identify them among aspects of physical conformation, human interventions on the territory, tangible and intangible components of the local cultural heritage, but also among infrastructural and service aspects. Of course, identifying these traits does not exhaust the place identity phase. It is then necessary to select the uniqueness or value traits of the destination that can really make the difference in the eyes of visitors. But how to select them? How to represent them? In the example of Porto Venere, an Italian seaside village in Liguria region, we can identify three families of distinctive features. Natural features that are noteworthy aspects of the landscape, like fauna, flora, physical conformation of this territory. The artificial features that are produced by man over time, like architecture, monuments, and topography. And finally, people and their cultural backgrounds in terms of knowledge, habits, traditions, and lifestyle. The human factor can be expressed both at individual level, thanks to particular and representative subjects, or at a group level, considering the local community and its organizations, for example, associations. Here is an overview of what we saw so far of Porto Venere. Local identity can form the basis of the destination positioning strategy, which is our second step. Hence, the quote that reminds us that positioning is above all a question of perception. As Rees et al. Wrote, positioning is not a battle between goods and services, rather a battle of perceptions in the minds of customers. But what do we mean by positioning? According to the scholar Kotler, positioning refers to the place that a product or brand occupies in the mind of the customers and how it is distinguished from the products of the competitors. For us, therefore, it means, first of all, working on the right attributes of the destination, those that are key for tourists. It is therefore necessary to move from an internal vision to an external vision, starting from what tourists really know and expect from our territory. Let's also remember that positioning is not guaranteed by simply selecting the right attributes to work on. It is a positioning that continually changes over time, and it is relative. In the meantime, new proposals appear on the market and the tourist takes them into account. Positioning is also customer-based. There is always a subject element in the evaluation of our proposal, and it is dynamic. The market changes, and with it, our competitiveness. The table shows a way of representing the positioning of macro destinations in entire countries over time. We can see a ranking where there are advances or relegations in position compared to the previous year of the benchmark. Certainly, the most used method to represent positioning is the positioning map. It is a representation of the customer's mind and how she or he places the various proposals she or he is aware of. Let me spend some words on how to use this map applied to a tourism destination. The colored points in the map represent the different competing destinations. Starting from the attributes we want to consider to characterize the destination and position it in the market, we can organize a bidimensional perception map. For instance, we might cross price with quality, or adventure with relaxation, or again innovation with tradition. The extremes of the two axes, the two attributes, correspond to high and low presence of the attribute in the product destination. Usually the most competing destination lays in the upper right quadrant. The third logical step we face is the one dedicated to brand image. The brand image supports the positioning strategy of our destination from a communication point of view. Starting from the fact that tourist image is a mental representation of opinions, feelings, and overall impression the market has got towards a tourism destination, the questions we must ask ourselves are these. What do people know and say about our destination? What does our destination tell about itself? And what does our destination do and provide? We saw that a brand can represent and summarize different benefits in the mind of a tourist. For instance, taking into account Florence as our destination, we can say that its brand can express diversity, and this means that Florence stands out from others. The tourist might think, I want to visit the best Renaissance city in Italy. The destination can express also relevance, which means that Florence satisfies specific needs. And so the tourist might think, I want to visit the Uffizi Gallery. The destination can express also trust or esteem. In this case, the tourist might think, I want an international level service combined with a typical Italian atmosphere, beauty and landscape. And finally, the destination can also express familiarity with the customer's value system. And so the tourist might think, I'm a romantic person. I also saw the film A Room with a View, so Florence is the city for me. We continue on our logical path and arrive at the fourth step, the one dedicated to the UDP, Unique Destination Proposition. The question here is, how can I condense the value of the destination into a single proposal? The UDP is a basic marketing concept defining what makes a destination unique and valuable to the target market. The UDP explains to potential customers why they should visit it and prefer it against other alternative destinations. In communication, the UDP contains the main attribute of the destination which makes the difference when compared to other destinations. And as a last point, the UDP describes the benefits of the destination, so its value proposition and its attractiveness, the needs of the target market it can meet, so its specificity, and what makes the destination different or even unique from the competitors, so its uniqueness. On the offer front, the USP, unique selling propositions, correspond to the offer clusters that are present in the destination, and that must be in line with the UDP to satisfy diversified needs and targets. Let's have a look to two practical examples of what we've just said. Paris has a claim La Ville Lumière as a UDP. As a USP, we see three types of proposals: museums, the Moulin Rouge and other venues for shows, and the entire fashions and lifestyle circuit. As an iconic symbol, Paris uses the Eiffel Tower, which is a landmark not only for the city but for the whole of France. As a second example, we have India. The UDP is Incredible India, under which the various product clusters are identified, the USPs, which, while remaining consistent with the UDP, express distinctive traits in the type of experience they offer. We have seen in detail all 5 logical steps to answer the question how to turn a territory into a recognizable and attractive tourism destination, and how to transform it into a brand. We conclude this unit with the contribution of the scholar Ejark, who helps us to systematize the destination branding process with a flowchart. First of all, it is necessary to understand the preferences of the tourist market. From an operational point of view, this involves analyzing motivations and choices of destinations. We then move on understanding what view tourists have of their destination and of their competitors. It is the basis for positioning. This dual analysis allows destination managers to conceptualize the values and the benefits of the destination, identifying functional and emotional values for each segment of customers they intend to serve. After the analysis, we move on to the development of the branding strategy by choosing the positioning factors and defining the brand architecture, and then implement the strategy through communication tools and logic. The branding process must be continuous through monitoring of its result and updating in order to keep it in line with needs and trends of the market. Fine! We have arrived at the end of Unit 3 of Section 1, the unit dedicated to branding and local identity. This slide wraps up the 4 main topics we have seen: brand and its definition, the main principles of a branding strategy, the logical steps from place identity to effective branding strategy, and some examples of UDPs and USPs. I hope you found interesting and useful the contents of this unit. Remember that in case you would like to delve deeper into any of the topics we covered, you can find a wide selection of further information materials on our INCULTUM platform. Thank you, and see you on the Section 2, which is dedicated to communication and in particular to the promotion and storytelling of a tourism destination.